a computer science engineer by degree and with a specialization in blockchain and AI. And today I'll be taking you guys through what Walrus Protocol is. Especially because every other day, if you are from the blockchain industry, you do know that a new token, a new blockchain, or a new protocol is coming up. So how do we keep up? Right? And it's through such meetups, thanks to Toronto DAO, for organizing one where we can learn, educate, and grow together. So can anyone tell me, we'll start with the basics so that we all are on the same page, no matter the level of knowledge that we share. Can somebody tell me what a blockchain is? Very basic. You guys came to a blockchain meetup and you don't know blockchain?
Come on, don't be shy.
Come on, come on, come on.
Decentralized distributed ledger.
Okay. Any other answers? Perfect. Although my blockchain professor would kill me for this, but I personally call it an immutable database. Now, it's not a database, I know, don't kill me for it, but just to explain it to non-technical people in the crowd, it's a database where you enter, where once you enter the data, it cannot be changed. It can be, but let's not get into the technicality there. So that's blockchain. Now, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. So the beginning of blockchain is what I wanted to talk about. We've seen Web 1. What was Web 1? The www bubble that we saw where, you know, the reason it's called Web 1 was because it was read-only, right? We had static websites hosted on the World Wide Web where all you could do was consume content, not interact with it. Then came Web 2, which is what we're currently in, I would say, because all of your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, any website or application that you're using right now that does not have blockchain associated with it or the term decentralization is a Web 2 application. But what about Web 3? Web 3 is where you can, and Web 2, just to summarize it, was a read and write web, right? You could not only consume content, but interact with this content. In the vision of Web 3, what we want to do is basically be able to own the content that we're creating. We just heard a wonderful presentation right before that beatboxing by Sacred Protocol where they were talking about rewarding content creators directly. And that's what Web3 is all about, you know, ownership. Taking ownership of the content of your, basically, of your assets. And that's where, you know, Sui comes into the picture. Now, we did have, you know, it all started with Bitcoin, and then Ethereum came up with smart contracts, and that's where everything blew out of proportion. Every other day you had a new coin, every other day you had a new blockchain coming in, a layer 1 or a layer 2. All of these, you know, overwhelming you, making the whole industry cluttered, complicated, and you would feel like, oh my God, it's just too much. I can't catch up. And how many of you have heard the phrase, crypto is a scam? Most of you, right? And many still believe that cryptocurrency and blockchain are the same thing. Absolutely not. Just to burst your bubble if you were among them. Cryptocurrency is just a use case of blockchain. Blockchain has immense potential that we're talking about, right? So where does Sui or Walrus come into the picture? Now, how many of you have used a decentralized application before? A couple, okay. Can you tell me which one was it?
It was a turnkey project.
Mm-hmm.
They provided cybersecurity solutions.
Okay, perfect. And somebody else that raised their hand here? Any other project? Yeah.
Decentralized exchange.
Okay. Perfect. Someone from the back that wants to answer? What? Oh, again, a decentralized exchange, right? So any decentralized application that you use it can be divided into three very easy, simple parts. The front end that you're interacting with, the back end that does all of the computations, and then there's the database part. Now, the database part is where blockchain comes into the picture. The back end is what interacts between the front end and the blockchain, right? So what happens most of the times is, in most of the decentralized applications, now I'll not take names so that you don't come and hold my neck for spreading false information, but most of the decentralized applications that came into the picture, especially early in the early when blockchain was picking up, were not completely decentralized. The reason being, like I said, blockchain is an immutable database. You can store anything on it. But the problem with blockchain is the moment you start adding data, you start storing large amounts of files on it, right? Or large amounts of data on it, it starts getting slower. The network starts getting busier. The amount of money that goes into doing a transaction on the blockchain or storing or performing any operation on the blockchain rises crazily. I mean, have you seen the gas fees on the Bitcoin blockchain when during the Bitcoin halving? It is crazy. I remember Jerry from Bitcoin Bay was talking about it when it was happening, which is why there are so many other solutions. There are blockchains that are trying to solve this problem. Now, the first and very initial way that we solved this was through only storing essential and sensitive information on the blockchain and putting rest of the information on other not so traditional databases in like IPFS or any other methods that if you are a developer you would know. But the problem here was this basically put you in a tight spot in terms of your security. You had to be very careful because there was a threat that anybody could get into your system through these IPFSs, right? Because it was not completely decentralized. Now, there are a lot of blockchains that are working on decentralized storage, and Sui is one of them. Sui is trying to build, Sui is definitely one of them, and Sui is a it claims to be the fastest blockchain. I don't know if it is, but so the moment I say fastest blockchain, the first question that comes into your mind is, oh, what is the transactions per second, right? Can somebody tell me what is the transactions per second on the Sui blockchain? I just Googled it to answer it to one of my friends. It was 274,000, I think, 274K transactions per second, which means it's quite fast. Not sure if it's the fastest, but they do claim it. If you go onto their website, the first thing is fastest blockchain on the internet. But yes, that's definitely there. The reason also it is able to process so many transactions is because of parallel transaction. So they have this programmability concept where they're able to do parallel transactions, more like asynchronous transactions is what I would call. Which is why Walrus Protocol decided to build decentralized storage right on the Sui blockchain. Now, what Walrus does, so I'm just going to skip through this because I talked about it already. Now, what does Walrus do is, so Walrus Protocol, developed and built by Mistel Labs, is built on the Sui blockchain. It's a completely decentralized storage platform, which means that no matter, so in my personal opinion, Walrus told itself, why get into the fight of, being the best blockchain? Why get into the fight of being, telling people about your unique features just so that they choose you as their blockchain? No, it was like, work with any blockchain, but you can store it, but you can have your storage on Walrus. It's as simple as that. No matter which blockchain your project is built on, you can have your storage set up on the Walrus protocol. And the reason being, and the reason that it is built on Sui is it does not require any additional virtual machines to set up its storage system, which is why Sui is also called its global coordination layer. So Sui blockchain basically helps Walrus protocol communicate with other blockchains when your project is built on, let's say, it's built on Ethereum or any layer 2 of Ethereum, right? Now, how is data stored on the Walrus protocol, you might ask, because I did tell you that the moment you put data on blockchain, the blockchain goes like, sorry sister, I can't function, exactly. Which is why, what does Walrus protocol do is, it basically divides, let's say we have a huge file, okay? And normally when you try to upload this file on the blockchain or store it on the blockchain, you take this entire file and push it to the blockchain. That's when the load on the blockchain becomes heavier. Now, how does that happen on Walrus protocol is it gets divided into these smaller chunks that go and gets stored on different storage nodes across the network, right? Which is why it is it's also there's a famous quote on the Walrus protocol website that says that access your data during a zombie apocalypse, because they have so many storage nodes. In fact, some of them even have replications of your data just so that you have a backup layer during a zombie apocalypse. So I'm actually wondering why the presentation looks so weird here, but anyways. Like I said, access your data during a zombie apocalypse. Now, it's definitely scalable, it's programmable, it is resilient, replicable. You can, now that's a concept that I do not want to dive into, but the native token is obviously Wal. So like Bitcoin has BTC, Ethereum has ETH, Walrus protocol obviously has Wal token. We can look at Wal token as a dollar, and then the Wal token can be divided, can be broken down into smaller bits called frosts. So yes, so this is just a staking, this is a staking diagram that I wanted to show how you could stake, you could buy the Walrus token, stake it onto the, stake it so that you would be able to not just support the storage nodes, but also be a part of their governance in deciding which storage nodes to, function. Moving on, now since this is a storage system that we're talking about, right? So you definitely do need money to host, right? Most of the times what happens is when you're running a blockchain application, right? The user has to pay. That's what gas fees is all about. It's just a fancy name for transaction fees that just puts a hole in your pocket at this point. That's all that I can say. So on the Walrus protocol, what you have to do is basically the developer is the one that has to stake these Wal tokens in order to be able to store on the blockchain or use these storage nodes. In fact, if you deep dive into its staking protocol, right, there are also some money-making strategies that they're sharing. All you have to do is just go on to Miston Labs GitHub account. There's a very beautiful and long documentation on the Walrus protocol. It does share how you can earn interests, how you can stake your Wal token and get more Wal token. I don't know how that works, but that's a very interesting thing that I want to look into. Moving on. Yeah, this is all we talked about. Now, this is basically the life cycle of data in a on the protocol. I will just skip through this so that we know what's happening. So this is just a statistics that shows the capacity that the Walrus protocol uses. It's pretty cheap to store data here. And fascinatingly, when I was researching about the protocol on the weekend, because Samir decided to text me and say, oh my God, you are supposed to give this presentation, I found out that there was going to be airdrops that they did not yet, that the token did not yet, was not yet launched. And funnily or fascinatingly or coincidentally, the airdrop happened today. So somebody won some Sui, people. Moving on now, it's just the same vision again. They want to become the global data layer for every blockchain application that's built. No matter which blockchain you're building, they have their own, they have all of the, and their developer documentation is seriously beautiful. A huge shout out to Miston Labs for that wonderful GitHub account that they have with all of the developer documentation. It really helped me understand what this was. So if you are interested to understand the technology more, to be able to access Walrus Protocol or use Walrus Protocol, definitely do give a look at their GitHub account. You do not really need to be a developer in this AI era to build a basic project on the protocol. And I think that's about it. You can check more information on walrus.xyz. And yeah, thank you.